on my brain.
I have the I'm trying to say artery. Superiority about me complex. Superiority, artery complex. Where I felt like I didn't have to do jack shit.
For these Joe Schmoes.
Just one. I was too young with the other one. My adolescence was just fucking a tangled mess.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to ever talk about it because it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people feel bad because, when I say people, I mean your parents, my step parents, my birth parents, like my blood parents, my bio parents. You should see the sadness when you bring up like pain that they caused. Why would I do that? So who the fuck am I supposed to talk about this? And if you tell me to go to an adult childhood of alcoholism class meeting, I'm going to punch you in the foot because I went in it. I wasn't for me.
You've been to every goddamn support group there is.
There's nothing you can do but do what makes you feel like it heals yourself from that child who feels they were stripped of the innocence of what a family means, because family gets so changed. It's just so changed. I was at 3 years old. I never ever again felt whole. And that is primal. Why do you think people who are adopted eventually search for their parents? Why is Ancestry.com making all that money?
Billions. That's a great point. You have this
longing.
Hole. You have this emptiness. Yeah.
Of like wanting to belong. People who like were kidnapped as kids and didn't know. And then they end up being like Stockholm syndrome, where they don't remember that they don't remember their old family, but their whole life they feel this emptiness.
Yeah, and when you see these interviews, it's always like, I always had this feeling, or I always thought
that I didn't belong.
Something was missing, or I didn't belong.
It's like in our blood or something. It's like we can sniff out not our own kind or something. It's like a sense or something where you can, a family member. Like I don't ever see my dad's dog. He smells me, he knows I'm family. I don't know how my dad says he can smell his blood, and everybody calls my dad like QAnon because he's like, he can smell the Costa bloodline. But I'm like, he's probably fucking kind of onto something.
He is, because Dash hates most humans, but like my bloodline,
your sister,
he knows. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
So
I'm with Tom on this one.
With Tom, QAnon Tom. Yeah, so that was just my thing, is I was always, so as soon as they were gone, not apart, I was always missing one of them. And the step parents can either be fantastic, go through their times of being fantastic and horrible. Mine in particular went up and down until like probably teenage years. It got a lot better. With my stepmom, we're very, very, very close. I've never once in my whole life never heard her call me anything besides my daughter in public.
That's special. I love that.
And if people would do the math, because she's only 18 years older, she would just give them the like, don't say anything.
Oh,
I've seen it my whole life. My stepdad, on the other hand, would say, "This is Val's daughter from a previous marriage." Literally. This is Val's daughter, or this is Val's daughter was like more of the go-to, but depending on the mood, I've heard him say previous marriage before. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Does he have children?
Yeah, I had 2 step siblings. Yeah, we haven't spoken since the divorce. One of them I've spoken to a handful of times. Think about the life. It's only 6 to 12, 6 to 13 years old. So it's really not that long.
Yeah.
But it's those years of such downloading. I'm like really into this new verb,
I
down
love it though.
adjective. But it's like
Yeah.
this huge chakra building year cycle of like coming out of your hypnosis as like a young child, like from ages 1 to 3, when you're just a fucking floating nothing. And then you
Right.
become this person and you get a soul and you get a conscience, and you're learning how to be, becoming who you are, learning what's wrong and what's right by your surroundings. It's at that point, I'm pretty sure it's more nurture versus nature in those years, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a psychiatrist, but
I think
6
so
to
too.
12 is
Yeah,
like when you're really impressionable.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, let's see, I was 10 years old, going on 11. And I mean, I remember the day as clear as the sky. Um, I came home from school and I walked in the front door and my dad was like, come sit on the couch. We've got something to talk about. So I go sit on the couch between my
Wait,
mom and
can
dad.
I ask you a question? What kind of
Yeah.
day did you have at school that day? What kind of day was it?
That I don't remember because
Think
it's
about, close your
just,
eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. Okay, don't laugh. Close your eyes. Okay, did you take a bus to school?
yes,
Okay, so you're coming off the bus, right? They probably dropped you off right in front of your house or at the nearest stop sign, or what was the deal?
right in front of my house.
Okay, right. You're about to hold the, no, was the screen door shut and the door open? Was it like summer or was it fall? Was it like, where was the big door shut?
It was fall. So I bet the big early
Remember
fall
it.
though.
Don't
So
guess. Think.
yeah,
What was the color of the door?
maroon.
Okay, so the big door was shut. Okay, grab the handle. And before you go in, I want you to try to remember a feeling of what you expected your interaction with your parents to happen when you opened the door. Where you, oh my God, can you believe this happened? Or oh my gosh, I had the worst freaking day and now I have to talk to these squares.
No, it was a good day. I typically was excited to talk about I was excited to talk about my day at school.
Was your dad typically home at that hour?
He worked turns my whole life, so it was like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So his schedule varied.
Okay. So I'm going to guess you were in a pretty good mood.
I was.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I think, when it's like adding insult to injury, sometimes it's just a little bit tiny bit easier because you're already in a
Yeah.
bad mood. So you're like, oh, everything else. But if you were having a really great day and you stubbed your toe, it's the worst fucking thing on the planet because your whole,
Yeah.
when you're in such a good mood and your shirt gets caught on a door handle.
Fuck this world.
But, spill your coffee, stub your toe, then your shirt on the door handle. It's at that point, you're like, I can handle it. It's fine. Whatever.
Then it's laughable, right?
Mm.
No, I was like bebopping up the sidewalk.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah. And my dad's like, come sit on the couch. We got to talk about something. And I feel like I sat down. I feel like I can feel a pillow on my lap. So I like grabbed a throw pillow or something on the couch, sat down and like put it in my lap as I was sitting. And I feel like it came out as quickly as I like barely even settled into the couch. I was still like plopping down. And my dad was like, your mom and I are getting a divorce. And just the word just held so much like dread. And I mean, as a 10-year-old kid, I feel like it's one of the worst things that at the time, like that you think could happen. Like, oh my God, this is terrible. My world's over. What are kids at school going to think? Where am I going to
You're
live? What's
already
going to
gay and like
happen?
98,000 feet tall. And now you're a
Already
child of
holding
divorce.
in so much about myself and already having these thoughts and big things about myself that I'm hiding from the entire world. This is like another stressor to add to a 10-year-old. Yes. So yeah, it was. And then
I just figured you out. No,
would
I
you
just
figure
figured
out?
out a little tiny part about you. We
What?
recently did an episode called Chelsea Just Got Fired, where we talked about self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Well, now we know why you do that. Because a good day has to mean disaster for you. And so you don't let yourself have too many in a row. You're going to fuck it up. You won't allow it. You won't allow yourself.
This is actually very true.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked
I'm covered in
to
goosebumps.
Sarah, my therapist, about it last week.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were talking about self-sabotage, I said, it's almost like I don't want myself to be happy. Like if I didn't say it in like the exact words that you did, but basically like the idea that like if I'm on a roll or if like, there are things that are happening good back to back, or I'm on a good streak, or, it's almost like what's going to happen? What am I going to fuck up? It's like I don't want to let myself be happy for
Mm-hmm.
too long or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Because you don't want to be shocked. You don't want to be surprised. You'd rather just fucking do it yourself. I think the innocence of the picture that is painted in homes, I don't know. I think I'm going to speak for myself, but the image that I would see on TV in other homes, like my friends' homes and stuff, and what was happening at my dad's house, and my mom too, because she was super happy with her husband. I think at the beginning, at least she married him. Like the second one,
Yeah.
I don't remember the first. I don't remember her being married to my dad or the second guy, but the third guy, she seemed happy. So, but I wasn't. The kid wasn't. So I was just like this pessimistic person who thought, well, if you want to be happy, you have to go and get after it and go do it yourself and make sure you're always happy, because clearly it's not in another person. Like that's not where happiness lies. I learned that very young. So, but you were modeled, this is our family, this is your sister, this is our brick home. I'm here 2 weeks, I'm home 2 weeks. Mom does this, mom works this, mom's doing everything, making your lunch, happy, everybody kiss, hug, happy, 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 divorce, goodbye. So good things come to an end, Nate. And I was taught, if you want anything good, you have to go get it. It doesn't just exist because it exists. We got two different messages from the same exact situation of divorce, and it's prevalent in our lives now. That's where you self-sabotage, and I'm always looking for something better. I'm always looking for the next best thing. It's like one of the worst things about me. Just ask me to sit still. I can't. That's not what was modeled.
Holy shit. That about the self-sabotage and how it has stayed with me through my entire life is crazy. Yeah. It is.
Well,
like,
it's in a part of your frontal lobe, male frontal lobe with 14-year-old. Google it. Let's just see what happens. Are you on Google?
Yeah.
I'm interested to know. Females are different, but...
So what should I say?
Male frontal lobe development 14 years old. This is where serial killers are created.
Well, so I was 11 when the divorce happened.
Oh, okay. So I was right 11. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. Oh, I was thinking about my mom's divorce. I was 14, I think. 13, 14. Sorry about that. What percentage? I used to know this.
What? Well, it's fully developed at 25 years old.
Yeah, but what percentage are we looking at here?
Let me see.
Add a little percentage thing. I'm thinking about starting another TikTok page.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Of being my authentic, true self, like the lady told me to be.
I think that's a great idea.
Like a spiritual page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, bitch. Give me the percentage.
You banana peel, bitch.
Still my favorite line of 64.
Okay. That's not much.
Yeah.
That's not strong enough to handle something like that, and it's definitely weak enough to be impressionable. I think that, that's when you're supposed to be nurtured and like loved, and I'm sure you always felt loved, but divorce is weird because it's a breakup between two people who definitely shouldn't be together. Right? But you accidentally told your kids that you should for way too long. So their side rail card, if that's the way you presented it to them, if that's what you presented to them because, the kids come first and whatever we have. My Tommy, I yell at my husband right in front of him. We have our spats right in front. I don't care. You can call me or call DS. I never will hide my shit from my son. Vice versa. I kiss my husband all up and down and all over until kingdom come. He'll have to learn to walk away.
Yeah.
And he has to see the other side. Has to.
Because I remember.
I don't want him to ever be wondering. He's not part of the relationship, but he's affected by it. So unfortunately, I have to keep him in the loop.
Good point. Affected by it.
But clouded, but in the loop, just a little fogged up. He doesn't have to know everything. Like, I fucked your dad last night so hard, I almost lost my IUD. Like, I'm not going to say that.
Hang on one sec.
You didn't hear what I said, and it was really funny.
I kind of hate the new headphones.
I said...
Fuck. Did those hurt the top of your head?
I said I fucked your dad so hard last night that I almost lost my IUD, and you're like, hold on, let me get my new headphones.
Hold on a second.
I'm wearing fake eyelashes, and there's just one that's gone rogue. Do you see it?
A rogue eyelash. I do see it.
I don't have to wear fake eyelashes, so when I do, you can see them from the moon.
Your eyes look great. Yes, I definitely remember some heated arguments.
Oh, good.
In the house.
That's good.
Prior to that conversation.
That's good.
And I do have to say, my parents did really good after the divorce. Of course, the best they could. We still lived in the same town. We tried the 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there for a while.
That's too
but
long.
It was just too much.
It's too long.
Pack up all your belongings every 2 weeks and switch houses. And it was just a lot for my sister and me to go through. So, they did great and made the best out of the situation post divorce. And they had to do what they had to do for to be happy themselves as well. So
here's as an adult, here's my biggest issue right now. Okay.
Tell me. Yeah.
I want to be able to talk about my parent to my other parent as much as I see fit in any capacity or way that I want to talk about them. At all, end all, be all, kaput, all over, done. As
Yeah.
if they're both in the same room at the same time and I'm calling them out on their bullshit right in front of each other. And I can't. Because it's asking a person to bring up a 50, 40-year-old dusty, crusty dildo and shoving it up their ass.
Now,
They
if
don't
you
want to
did
do
bring
it.
it up, would they say, I don't want to talk about your dad? Or,
No. But you can see it in their face. They're like, Jesus Christ, I don't give a fuck about how
yeah,
all right, cool,
right,
awesome,
right.
yay. Cool. Not in a negative way, but just like it's not a part of their fucking life and it hasn't been for so long, so shut the fuck up. But I'm
So
sorry.
shut the fuck up.
You had me. You had sex. You were happy that I was here. I'm alive and
Right.
I'm giving birth and I'm having an experience. And my experience was this happened and it was so funny and cute. And do you want to hear the story? Or this
Right.
happened. It's so funny and cute. And of course they go, oh my gosh, that's so cute. They listen, whatever. But I feel like on the inside, they're having a shitty time with an old, dusty, crusty dildo. I'm
Yeah.
deciding how they're feeling because of guilt of having parents that aren't together. Does that make sense?
100%.
I feel like I'm the person
right along
that's
with you.
making somebody else not want to talk about that. Like,
Yes.
I'm the person that's constantly reminded. Like, every time I talk about something, it's going to come back to either one of my parents, and they're like, ugh, God, I fucking sucked asshole, or oh, God, he fucking sucked asshole. You know, like,
yeah.
I'm just this constant reminder of, blech. That's how I feel. Whether or not they make me feel that way or not, that's how I feel.
Totally agree.
Yeah. And so I feel like I can't even live my authentic self when I'm around a parent because like you're asking them to take part in like gossip when it's not, but it's going to be because it's their ex. I'm just trying to talk about my dad, or I'm just trying to talk about my stepmom, or I'm just trying to talk about my mom, or I'm just trying to talk about my stepdad. But it's gonna be, I'm afraid that they're gonna be like this again.
That's a good point. It
you
feels
know,
like
so
gossip.
it does, it feels
Because
like
it's their
gossip.
ex.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's their ex's husband or their ex's wife.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, I don't give a shit about that. I wouldn't. If you tried to tell me how my ex-girlfriend's doing with her new husband and all the blending and the dogs and they're all happy and they just, I'd be like, bitch, I don't want to talk about this shit. This is so beyond my comfort zone of like where I'm at mentally. I'm way moved on past that. I don't need to be talking about this person. They can go fucking suck an egg for all I care.
Good
They're
point.
alive? They're even alive? Didn't even know.
Right.
But no, you have a kid with them. So now the kid's going to constantly talk about it. And the kid's going to feel guilty bringing them up. And I'm speaking from experience, I'm speaking hypothetically. I'm not saying every child. Because this is just my experience. It's very common, but it's mine. So if you are divorced and you're worried that your kids feel this way, ask them. Ask them. Ask them how they feel. They'll tell you, or they probably already do because they have that issue that I do where they feel like the whole world owes them an apology. I felt like the whole fucking world owed me an apology, but I was too young to understand why I felt that way. I had no idea, and that's why I use that word that I can't pronounce, because it was this feeling of I deserve better than this, and don't you know who I am? I deserve better than this, but I didn't know why I was feeling that way.
Yeah. So you had a superiority complex.
Mm-hmm. I can't do it.
I got you.
And this is just like, I don't know, man. And that's why I'm afraid of divorce. You ask me why I ask Drew all the time. Do you know I ask him at least once or twice a week if he's going to divorce me?
No way.
Yeah. My therapist says, like, I've had multiple therapists tell me the same exact thing. And it's like, I've had mediums tell me the same thing where it's like, you are literally a manifesting leech. Whatever you manifest comes true. So stop with your husband. Psychics said that to me. Stop it.
Do you know how much stuff you've manifested in your life?
No, I know. I feel like a Salem witch person.
Legit.
I feel like if I was back in the day, I would have been dead 6 times over. They would have spit on my grave every day. She's a witch!
Yeah.
I like
For
coughing
real.
in the mic.
I know you burping,
really do.
coughing.
Divorce is the best thing you could possibly do. If you are questioning yourself about whether or not you should probably get a divorce, you should probably get a divorce.
You should probably get a divorce.
Because then there's always those years where it's like, we should have gotten that divorce.
Yeah. And
have you ever heard of a
to
rehab
reiterate,
relationship?
A rehab relationship.
Person that rebounded from being like about to get divorced.
Oh, I haven't heard of it referred to that, but I get it. Are they typically unsuccessful? Like transition relationship?
I mean, I know a couple of couples that were like almost got divorced and then stayed together, and they're happy.
Yeah,
like they're actually
right.
happy, but it's not common.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Don't stay together for the kids, because kids are smart and they're going to see the misery. They're going to feel the tension in the house. They're going to probably resent you in the long run for staying together and creating this toxic environment with your significant other. So, yeah, while we talk about these things that have affected us, even as adults, I think that my parents made the right decision. We made the best of it. And
each divorce,
I couldn't imagine my life otherwise,
Yeah, absolutely. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't stay together.
Right.
Because I have my sisters, and my son has this beautiful array of grandparents and great grandparents. It's crazy how many grandparents he has. It's fucking stupid.
Gosh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
your sisters.
He's like such my sisters.
The best.
I wouldn't. They would be in my life somewhere or another because there's just no way.
Yeah.
But they allowed me to restart my whole life. When my sister Marie was born, I just decided restart. I didn't know, like.
And you did too.
I dove into them hard, and I played with them age appropriately. Like I barely grew up.
Took it. Yeah.
And it was like fun and animated. It wasn't like on my like Game Boy telling them to shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually I was, but
Right.
When I was like 8 and 9 and 10, 11 and 12, I was just so I would come over there on the weekends, and it was like you would just see their faces just beam. And I had never had anybody look at me like that, the way they looked at me.
You were like their world, probably. And so fun, like to have a babysitter.
I'm sorry, I'm having like a moment. I really had no idea. That, I think I have said it before, but I never really thought about like a little 8-year-old feeling so fragmented, and babysitters, different parents, grandparents' house, parents' house, friends' house, never wanting to be home when I'm home because of the stepdad wanting to always be out, or my grandparents never being at my dad's, and just always kind of being moved around like a chess piece and not feeling whole. Like that's where that all came from, right? But
so much weight for an 8-year-old.
Yeah. And then there's this person that comes into the situation who won't know any different ever, and this is like normal for them to have me in their life. Like they're not going to be taken away from me. I'm not going to be taken away from them, because we have a bond that is not marriage.
Yeah.
Because I knew like my stepdad, could leave, and I would never see my siblings again. But you take away my stepdad, you take away my stepmom and my dad, and I'm still going to see my sisters. They're going to, my mom never had any other kids, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
So I had never had anybody look at me the way that they looked at me, ever. It was just like this unconditional, like, that's not even the word, because your parents look at you unconditionally.
Right.
It's more like,
it's like
never
admiration.
a nuisance. Never a nuisance is what I'll say, because I was called a nuisance a lot. Never a nuisance. And I think that's why we never fought, because I never wanted to make them sad or uncomfortable. Ever. Ask them. They will tell you to your face they had the best childhood in the entire world, and all their other friends growing up would be like, you hang out with your sister hangs out with you, and they'd be like, she's the coolest. Like, they fucking idolized me, they loved me, and I made sure that they were getting a great example until alcohol, until I was like 21.
Yeah, but that's so important. I mean, 10 minutes ago, we were just talking about those formative years and like that range that you were focused on making sure that they were happy and taken care of. And
meanwhile,
so important.
I'm getting fucked in the ass with like horrible emotional damage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's so kept and so hidden that when I talk about the scary parts of being who I am, the dark stuff that nobody knows about, when I tell my sisters, they look at me in such bewilderment, because how could somebody who made their childhood so beautiful and so amazing, and somebody who's so strong, who sticks up for themselves, and how could somebody go through something like that and not talk about it? Because I'm shielding them from it. That's why I was never around when I was an alcoholic. I didn't want them to see that.
Right.
I didn't want them to know the truth. I didn't want them to know about like the molestation or being sexually assaulted and all these other things. There's like, those are two big ones that they were both like, excuse me. But there's more that they've been like, what? No way. And like, they had no idea, but it's just like, I don't know. I knew I had a second chance at life, and I could just like play pretend when I was with them that nothing else existed but us three.
No.
And I only got that every other weekend. So it was hard. It was really hard.
Another such a special conversation. I say this all the time, but like when we have conversations that we have like revelations about ourselves, and just seeing you realize that about you and your sisters, so special. I love our conversations.
Yeah, I've definitely said that before, but I've definitely never got emotional or felt it. I got a reading yesterday and 2 days ago, and my higher power, or my angels, or my guides, however you want to call them, she was talking to them, and she was saying how I absolutely listen to everything, I hear everything, I know everything. She was saying all these things that I already knew, because I know everything. Like I'm just clairsentient. It's like,
yeah, that's a new one for me.
No, that was the vibration. That was people's emotions. Like when I take people's emotion, I don't Google any of this stuff. And I told her that. I was like, so I'm not going to know the terminology. I just know how I feel. But she was saying that I definitely feel, I mean, I hear everything, I see everything, I touch everything, I know everything, but I do not feel shit. Which makes sense.
Because you're taking on other people's, right?
I don't want to feel like I don't want to be vulnerable. I know how shitty it is. I've seen it. But when I was with my sisters, there was like no shield. There was nothing.
Guard is down, and just like,
I just knew they would never go away.
Yeah.
I knew that they would never go away. I believe that there was even a conversation had at one point, because I am who I am. So I'm sure I kind of had a memory of my stepmom saying, if we get divorced, if anything ever happened to your dad, it's probably one of those. If anything ever happened to your
Yeah.
dad, I will never keep your sisters from you.
Mm.
Because maybe he fell or maybe he got hurt or something.
Yeah.
And I brought it up or something, maybe. Because I remember her saying that. And she promised. And she was dead serious.
Yeah.
And my poor mom could never get, tried to get pregnant again, but couldn't. But thank God,
Mm.
because, fuckers.
Gosh. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, so thank God my parents got divorced is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because what if they stayed together, fought all the time, and I never learned how it
Maria
felt
and
to be
Soph
looked
were
at.
never in your life.
No, but I know, but then I never learned how it looked like to be.
Yes. More importantly, yeah.
Right, because she had miscarriages, so who's to say she wouldn't with my father?
Right.
And so I was an only child, never getting looked at the way that they did at such an impressionable age when all hope should have been lost for me. I should have been a teen mom. Statistically, my mom got divorced 3 times. My dad, another guy, and then Greg before I was 14. So I should have been, statistically, like homeless, drug addict, pregnant, high school dropout for sure, maybe
100%.
even in and out of like jail.
Yeah.
Right? But I had these 2 souls that needed me. So I fucking shot up straight and decompartmentalized the hell out of my life and tried to like keep it together because no matter what they were always going to be there. It wasn't going to be like a marriage. This is a bond that's like genes. Like this is like, so it's like losing a step parent or losing step children. Like I don't think I'm damaged by that at all. Like I've had people come in and out of my life and I don't think that bothers me at all. But what would bother me is if my sister is like, I don't know. I think it comes back to what I said at the beginning with like, it's something in her we feel, I was feeling so lost and unholy because like not whole because my dad and my mom weren't together, even though I loved my step mom. And at the beginning, I even liked my stepdad at the beginning. Like I was happy, but I felt incomplete. And then when they were born, it's like, oh, that's a family that won't go anywhere. And that will, like us 3 will stay together.
Yeah.
And you have that with your sister. So it's like 2 completely different divorces. Did you and your sister get closer when they got divorced?
For sure.
Way closer.
It was like,
even though she was in college?
Well, not for like 3 more years. So those 3 years, it was like, oh, after that we became best friends.
See?
It was like me and you, kid,
And she's 3 years older?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's enough to be like, think about the difference between a 9 and a 12-year-old. I mean, like, or 8 and a 12-year-old. Like, that's.
Yeah, it's like we were far apart
difference.
enough to like not get on each other's nerves sort of thing. So, I mean, of course we did from time to time, but like after the divorce, it was like, tightened up.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's safe to say that if your parents stayed together and fought all the time, that you would probably pick a spouse and be separate, and you and your sister wouldn't even talk. Imagine that.
Can't.
But that happens all the time.
That's a good point, though. Yeah,
where the mom goes with the daughter and the dad goes with the son, or vice versa. I mean, it's not sex thing. It's not like a gender thing. It's just whoever's bonded more. Goodbye, capiche. And then now you're in Boston, and your sister's in Ohio, and you wouldn't have a life together.
I can't even think. That's like crazy to me, that concept, but it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it would. I'm just saying it's a probability. But because they got divorced, you and your sister have this beautiful relationship where she tells you to go sign yourself in when you're having a stroke.
Yeah. You're exactly right.
How many times are you going to manifest exactly right?
It's like worked into my everyday vocabulary now, as you can see.
And as an adult, I have a stepdad, his whole family, the lovely people. My mom, her whole family. My dad, he doesn't really talk to his family, but I talk to my grandpa. And then my stepmom, who I've had, but I was like 3-4 years old when they got married. So all of her brothers are my uncles, and I don't know them any of their. I've never said step uncle. Like
Yeah.
it's this whole family. I have so much family. The more people you know, the more ability there is to learn about the world through other people. More conversations, more birthday presents, more Christmas
Amen.
presents. I mean, there's an upside to everything. But I know a little bit about a lot of things because I have all these people in my life, Nate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So it can be rewarding as a adolescent, not so much. The payment on the back end of
That's
divorce for
true.
the kid.
That's true. The payment is on the back end.
And it's still kind of double-edged though, because I'm super afraid of divorce. Not for me. I'm
Yeah.
fine. It's for my
Right. You're
kid.
fine. Yeah.
I always say this, and I say it a lot. If something ever happened to Drew, I will not take another mate until he's out of the house. And everyone's like, yeah, okay. And I was like, I'm fucking dead serious. I'll get the biggest, most expensive, authentic vibrator that's
I
on
knew
this,
you were
that's
gonna
in the
say
country, and I will fuck that thing until he's 18 because I am not going to do. I don't want him to go
Import
through what
that
I
shit
went.
from France.
Yeah. I don't care where they have to go. I don't care how much it costs. It will surpass any human being I've ever met in my entire life, and it will keep me
Oh,
at bay until he can handle it, like,
until
emotionally.
yeah. Oh gosh. Well, I think there is not a more perfect way to end this episode on divorce.
I've said dildo 4 times today. I brought it up
At
4 times.
least. At least.
Yeah, something's going on.